Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Anchored Soul. I'm your host Allie, and again I'm here with my husband Jeremiah. And in this episode, we want to talk about kind of what our next steps were after we came to the conclusion of Guam. So, the last episode we talked about how, through prayer we came to the decision of going to Guam and kind of what that looked like for us. So now we want to talk about what happened after that. There's a lot more to the story than just that. So I think after we both were at peace with going to Guam, then that started the prayer of, okay, Lord, how do you want to use us in Guam? And we prayed for a long time about this one too, but we kept talking about it kind of, and we knew that we wanted to be a example as far as like military marriages go, and that's always been a thing for us, though that wasn't something new.
Yeah.
But we wanted to, just kind of like, I guess, be a light in the sense of your marriage can be good, can be strong, have literally no worries about, like if he goes on deployment, I have no worries about him being faithful or anything like that.
We wanted to be the exception.
Yeah, any storms that life throws at us, like, we know that we will get through them, and we will get through them together. And I feel like a lot of that is because God is the center of our marriage. So we wanted to be that example, and we knew that beforehand, but that was kind of like reiterated. And then I kept having this thought of the vlog, and which I just thought was the most ridiculous thing ever in the world, because I'm not really a social media person. I'm not a video person. So it just was like, yeah, sure. But here we are. And then I also kept having this very strong feeling, like I kept saying to Jeremiah, how funny would it be if we started a church? Just like so out of left field. I mean, neither one of us are by any means qualified to start a church. But that just kept being a thought in my head, like over and over and over again, anytime I would pray about it. So that was kind of it was a little bit of a running joke for a minute between us.
And then we had known that, okay, obviously now we're going to Guam, this is what we're doing. So how can we build the kingdom the most? How can we spread the gospel the most? How can we reach the most people? That was a thought, but then it was also oh shoot, this is what we're actually doing. How do we do this? What do we do next? For the Navy, it's pretty easy because they tell me what to do and they tell us where to go. But for the personal side, there's no guidance. And so it was just kind of like a slap in the face of reality that, hey, we've been thinking about this and praying about this since October, August, whatever, but now it's really happening. We got to talk to some people, we got to seek some counsel. And so we were blessed enough to land in Lebanon, Tennessee, where we started going to the Bridge Fellowship and just learning more and hearing more about how the church was started and how Pastor Phil and Shara really planted it and grew it from what it is, or what it was back in, I think, 2007 to now, 2005, something like that, to what it is now. And shout out to the Bridge for going to 4 services. But so we decided that, hey, we want to sit down with Pastor P. We want to learn what he thinks, what his thought process was, how we can really go about this and get some advice from him. And so we sat down with them, went to lunch with them, and we sat down and said, all right, so what's going on? What are your thoughts? What are we sitting here for? And we started explaining it to them, that how, we're going to Guam, we're wanting to really reach out to the couples and the wives and the spouses for Allie, and I want to be able to help the young single sailors that are kind of stuck out there by themselves with no support, no families, or anything like that, and we just want to be the exception and build the kingdom that way. And he chuckled and said, well, y'all know you're fixing to start a church, right? And then we both just looked at each other, because we had this conversation in the car so many times where Allie would say, hey, how crazy would it be if we're starting a church? And I would be, well, we're not starting a church. That's not what we're doing. And when you really think back to it, that when the Christian church started, it started in basements or in houses or just small gatherings, and that was the church, right? It wasn't a big building. It wasn't hundreds and thousands of people to be classified as a church. It was just a small group of people worshiping and praising the Lord and learning about Him, and then going out and telling more and more people about it. And that is the church. And in that aspect, we are. And we hadn't really thought about it that way. We were thinking more brick and mortar and how crazy that would be. But Pastor P was very quick to remind us that that's what we're doing. And so we talked more, and he gave us some advice. And
I think when we left that lunch, we both felt a little overwhelmed, but I think that we also felt like we had the tools that we needed, or the knowledge that we needed, to start making a plan, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew that God was going to give those to us, because that's what He was calling us to do. But it was just like how do we even do this? Like we felt like we can't just show up there and just walk up to random people and be like, do you know Jesus? Because people probably wouldn't want to be our friend if we did that. Or we didn't want people to feel like we were shoving it down their throats, really. Like, we just want to have community and have fellowship, and then introduce God into that, and then it will evolve into a small group, basically.
Yeah, and truly feel authentic and real for them when they trust us as friends and life partners and people that they can trust for anything that they may need. And then they'll see the difference between us and non-believers, and it just truly be raw love that we are truly giving to them, just as Jesus has given that to us and to them. But the Navy isn't very receptive, or I guess the military in general, it's not a very religious group of people. And so there's a lot of hardened hearts. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of rough things that people have to do that can really distract and pull them away from the love of Christ. And if we can just be that one example, if we're the only ones that they ever come across in their life, we invited them into our home, we broke bread with them, we got to just love on them and show them that there is more than just the bad that comes with life, and then explain to them why there is that good and where that good comes from. That's the goal, that they can feel that love of Jesus through us.
And back to the like being prepared side of things. So after, like we had that lunch, and then I think afterwards we realized, okay, the past 3 years, God has been gearing us up to this. Like we had the opportunity to kind of co-lead in our life group. We hosted it at our house, and another couple was like, they were the main leaders, but if they were out or whatever, then Jeremiah and I would lead it. And then I also had the opportunity to lead a group of high school girls for 2 years, and I learned a lot and grew a lot from that. I co-led my women's group that I had, and then I also did this thing called Regeneration, and it was a program basically that our church does every year, and it's a 12-week 40-week 12-step 40-week 12-step program. It's kind of similar in layout to like AA, but it's not just for like addicts. It's for just anybody that needs its regeneration through Christ. And it was an amazing program. It was one that I went into and I was like, I don't really know why I'm here, but I'm here. I'm doing it. And I learned a lot about myself from it. And then I was able to take those tools with me to, disciple and to potentially help somebody else that needs that kind of a structure of a program in their lives. So there's a lot of things that I think the Lord was just putting in place for us the last 3 years that we didn't even realize until now we do realize it, and now we're like, oh, okay, that all makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I think we feel pretty prepared as we can feel until we get there now. And it's something that we still will be praying about, and we would accept any prayers from any of you guys that want to pray for us in that sense. Yeah, and we know there will be bumps along the road, and it's not gonna just be all rainbows and butterflies the whole time, and it's probably gonna be hard, and I think we'll even feel a little bit discouraged at first, because at the bridge, when you join a life group, that's it. Like, they're just immediately family and immediately welcoming and exactly what you need them to be. And I think it's going to take a little longer to grow that with people that we don't know. So, yeah. I think that's it for this week's episode. And that's it for Jeremiah, too. He won't be in another one for a while, probably. So, I will see you guys